I'm Kaukab Stewart, and I'm live and direct on Level Up.
Yeah! Thank you so much for being here today. It is absolutely amazing to have you. What have you been up to today so far?
Oh, do you know, you are so welcome. I'm really excited to sit down and have a great chat on a lovely, bright Glasgow day. So this morning, I've already been in a primary school. I did a competition for Chinese New Year to design a card.
Cool.
So I attended an assembly at a local primary school to present the winner and give them a copy of their card that's been printed up that's going to be sent to, everyone that I can think of, basically, which is just fantastic. So that was lovely.
That's so cool, actually. I suppose, the general public, we don't really get to see as much of that side of the work of people who work in sort of public office.
Yeah, so MSPs, members of the Scottish Parliament, the tradition is that they do Christmas cards, and they tend to do Christmas card competitions and all the rest of it. And I did that the first couple of years, and then I thought about it, and I thought, well, one at Christmas time, schools are really busy places. And then we're putting an extra, take part in this competition as well. And then I thought, well, actually, we should be celebrating the diversity of Scotland, the representation here. So why does it always have to be Christmas?
True. That's true.
So the following year, I did an Eid card competition.
Cool.
And we had masses of amounts of entries, and there was some fantastic designs. So I got that printed up and sent out. And then this year, I'm doing Chinese New Year. And if I get re-elected and come back, then I'm going to choose another festival to celebrate.
So
and do you know? I know, but do you know? I think I'm the first MSP to actually do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Do you know what? Doing this podcast and doing this show, the most important thing I think for me is kind of just getting to know people and finding out about their journey so that everyone can try to level up in that way, So I'm really interested in finding out more about you and just your background and where you grew up and if what your other interests are other than being a superwoman and political type stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Aye, go on, tell me. Go on.
No, that's good. It's not often we get the opportunity as politicians to present ourselves as sort of more rounded human beings, So thank you.
True. Sorry, I should be clapping. It's supposed to be unprofessional, but it's true. It's true.
Hopefully, I will give that idea that we are actually rounded human beings. So I was born in Pakistan. And I came to the UK when I was 6 years old.
Yes.
And I lived in England at that time, actually in the Midlands area. And then when I was 16, I moved to Glasgow. And I then decided to study, I decided about education. I wanted to be a teacher from a very early age, actually. I was about 8 years old. And it was quite tricky growing up as sort of an Asian girl, Muslim, all the rest of it. And that was in the 80s, huge challenges. And I faced lots of discrimination at school and on the street and everything. And at that young age, I thought when I grow up, I want to be a teacher so that I can make sure that no child that goes through my hands feels that they're being discriminated against, and education is celebrated and is seen as an opportunity and they feel valued. And actually, I'm so lucky because I did grow up to do that, and I did it for 29 years. I did. I know. So I went to Murray House, moved through to Edinburgh to go to university to get my teaching degree. And then 25 years magically went by. I settled there. I had a family. And then when the family grew up, left home because I was from Glasgow originally, decided to move back. So I moved back about 11 years ago.
Right.
So yeah, I've been back in Glasgow since then. So I've come full circle.
That's amazing.
Working at the Parliament, the Scottish Parliament, on the Royal Mile, that's a few hundred yards from Murray House College of Education, which is
True.
where I did my degree. So I remember my office on the fifth floor when I first got elected, and I looked out the window and I could see Murray House. And I thought, wow, there we are, So yeah.
That's deep. That's actually quite interesting. Now, when you were talking, I was thinking about like what that must have been like. So I'm really interested to know like who are the people that you at that kind of young age
Mm-hmm.
or potentially even at different stages in your life before you got to where you are. I'm really interested in before you got to where you are. Are
Yeah.
there people that were around that really inspired you? Were there people either in the community, in your family, past, present, that you really kind of looked up to?
Yeah, do you know, that's a really good question. And I get asked quite a lot about the people that inspire me. And I always find it difficult to think of names. There are names in my head, but it's more the characters and their values
Yes.
that came into my life just at the right moment. And some of them I'm still in touch with, and some of them came in fleetingly, helped to pick me up and put me back together.
Yes.
And then they went away, but that was a crucial, pivotal moment of influence over me. But one of the early ones was actually a teacher. As I said, alluded earlier, at school, it was difficult. In those days, hitting children was legal at school.
Wow.
And
That's mentally.
I know. And
you totally don't think about that in today's society,
Absolutely. So I used to get the belt all the time. I used to get slapped. I mean, use rulers, all the rest of it. And if there was anything that went wrong, it was always my fault. I got the blame for everything. And I think that has shaped me, is like, my position when anything goes wrong. I always sort of like take it to heart myself and think that it's somehow my responsibility, even though I know that it's not. But I think that's where it comes from. Just getting sort of like excluded from things all the time. English wasn't my first language, but I loved education. My family believed in education.
Yes.
And
it's a big thing, I think.
Yeah, it is. And because I come from a very modest background, and whilst we didn't have any money,
yes,
we had plenty of care and attention and all the rest of it. So my parents did think that education is a salvation.
Same with West African parents, particularly Nigerian. It's almost like, what is wrong with you? All this, at something nonsense. Like they just don't take anything unless it's like academics seriously.
Yeah. And I suppose, I'll tell you one story which is quite illustrative. Was they did at the end of primary school, they did these wee tests. They were reading tests. They weren't comprehension tests. Didn't need to understand what you were reading. You just needed to read it. And because I'd learned English as a second language, it's like a code. Once you know how to crack the code, you can basically decipher stuff, right?
Yes.
So I read, it was 100 words that you had to read. And I think I got something like, I don't know, it was about 95 out of 100.
Yes.
And the teacher that was assessing me turned around and said, well, somebody like you shouldn't be getting 95 out of 100. How about we just put that score down to 75, because that's maybe more representative of what somebody like you should achieve.
That's wild.
It's wild, isn't it?
So
And
I totally believe it.
I just said yes. Because, you're in that sort of like be grateful for what you've got,
Yeah, it is a thing.
So I thought, well, okay, 75% sounds reasonable to me. And of course, I went home and spoke to my parents and told them what had happened. And my dad did then come up and say, actually, I think that's really unfair. My daughter should just get the score that she actually achieved herself.
Right. That is actually quite wild. Do you know what? I didn't even want to say anything because I feel like I've had very similar experiences in my life as even now. Do you know what I mean? And you just reminded me of like a less painful traumatic experience where I entered a competition, which I didn't even want to enter. Someone else entered me in it. I won the competition.
Yeah.
This is recent history, 2023, a big competition. But I think it was quite close between me and somebody else.
Right.
And the other and it was decided by the judges that I shouldn't win because they felt like I had achieved a lot of things in my life. So they wanted to give it to this other person instead.
Okay.
And I just thought it was wild.
Yeah. It's just crazy to navigate these things. But usually there is a teacher, well, somebody, and this particular teacher, she was just amazing, actually. And she saw something in me, and was gently encouraging and kind. I could see
Yes.
kindness.
Yes.
And she had an ability to sort of diffuse things and just sort of like, yeah, just that bit of kindness, that bit of compassion. And she saw me through that bit because I think I could have easily just not turned up,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I don't think they would have cared if a wee Asian girl didn't bother turning up to school in those days, attendance and all. They would have just turned around and says, well, what do you expect? So she was amazing, actually, and she lived locally. So we used to see her in the shops.
Yes.
And, you had that conversation, and she knew the families and all the rest of it. It was just lovely. And I do remember years later when I did visit my town again and tried to find out, and sadly, she died of cancer. But I remember her really, really fondly. So she's the earliest memory of somebody who was just that there at the right time.
Amazing.
And had that moment of influence where I could have just rebelled against it. But actually, she showed me that, yeah, not everybody in the system is like that there are kind people. And actually, education is a good thing. And it was crucial because I went on to dedicate quite a lot of my life to education, not only my own, but other people's as well.
Wow, it's quite deep, It's quite deep. And I think one of the most beautiful things about what you've said just now is like a lot of the time I kind of feel like certainly in my generation that a lot of the people, if you ask people about the people that inspire them, they tend to like kind of talk about people who are maybe like celebrities or like, really famous and stuff like that. And like actually there's so much that you can learn from the people that are there for you in your life,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the people that are doing things in quiet. Like I always feel like if I had any power whatsoever in my industry or in fashion, I would wish that magazines would choose like a random person every month that
Yeah.
like, actually helps people in their community, that actually is dedicated to improving society, like I don't really understand what this kind of fixation is.
Yeah. I think it's because people like to, they want a hook, and it's glamorous. It's interesting if you can sort of have an image of some kind of celebrity or a Kent face, and then they think that that gives you insight about you. I could say, well, I mean, authors and life. Maya Angelou, I think, is a great inspiration to me through her work, though.
Yes.
And actually I was so inspired by her, I even named my daughter after her.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's amazing.
She knows that, so that's good. It's not breaking news. She knows that. But yeah, one of my most thumbed books is the collected sort of like poems of Maya Angelou. And I still, in moments of feeling, you feel defeated, you feel downhearted, and you want to make sure that you fit into the bigger world change and world change makers and influencers. And she was an influencer of her time.
For sure. However, I think what is quite interesting about what you said about people like Maya, same with, say, someone like, I can't remember her stage name. I only remember her real name. This is so bad. Like I can't be like using my phone on the podcast because I can't remember her name. Oh my God, Nina Simone.
Oh,
right?
Goodness, yes.
So, AKA Eunice, by the way. Another, yes, she changed. They made her change her name to Nina Simone because they said Eunice was like too kind of like grown up, or I don't know what. But I say that to say that a lot of these particular figures, and we might as well talk about women.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said that they were famous. I would have said they were more infamous.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like there was a lot of people that I find quite inspiring. Maybe at the time, society might not have seen them as that person. Like they weren't necessarily the person that is necessarily lifted up and is, you know, promoted.
Well, they struggled, didn't they? I mean, that was the thing. It was the struggle of Maya Angelou, I suppose, was that she was able to turn that through her, you know, amazing sort of wordsmith sort of capabilities and stuff, and films, and, you know, has inspired so many things, but actually had a really, really difficult life and the different phases of that life. And again, it's that kind of realization that for most of us, life isn't easy. And sometimes there are massive issues you have to deal with. And sometimes they're very small issues that, you know, and we sort of over dramatize them or whatever, or even have fun with them and think, oh gosh, you know, it's been silly about that. But it's sort of like at your times, and she writes some great entertaining stuff as well, fun stuff as well, that you can look at, the irony and the humor that's in it. You can see that. But I think it's the length of it and the different phases of our life. And there are words and occasions and stories and motivations to get you through any moment, whether that's a moment of joy that you can celebrate, or whether it's a moment of abject despair and something to either let you wallow in it or to lift you up from it. And again, from poverty as well. And it was that, how many times do you knock somebody down, but they still prevail? And I suppose because I, you know, I've not had it easy, but I'd like to think I didn't make a virtue of it. I've just sort of got on with it, and picked myself up. You know, I mean, I got elected in 2021, but I stood for the first time in 1999.
Wow. I never knew that.
Yeah. So I stood in 1999 in the first Scottish Parliament elections. I was up against Donald Dewar, actually, who then, you know, became the sort of the first minister. Had a huge, it was a David and Goliath story, really. And actually, my political party, the SNP, we didn't get many votes in those days. It was a hard seat, but it was a great experience for me. And then in 2021, when I got elected, I was the first woman of colour to be elected in 2021 to the Scottish Parliament. So whilst I absolutely I celebrate that success, but it was you know, and people said, "Oh, this is amazing, Kaukab. That isn't that wonderful? Congratulations!" And overnight success. And I said, "Yeah, an overnight success." Took 21 years, you know, and the failures in between. I did stand a few times in between, whilst you're raising a family, whilst you have a full-time job, you know, all of those things. But yeah, so embracing, and along those journeys, there were people where picked me up, you know, came along at that right time when I said, yeah, I can't keep doing this, you know, because going into public office and politics, it has got more toxic over the years, unfortunately. It wasn't always like this, but it's still jolly hard work.
Yeah, it looks hardcore. To be honest, like I'm not trying to be funny, right? But when I was growing up, people were like, no, you need to be a politician. You need to write because you know what's going on. And I was like, I just don't fancy it because it's like I would assume you're kind of like fighting for like the things that are right in society. And sometimes when you're doing that, it's like, you know, I'm a new mom and it's like, you know, sometimes someone might not fully understand that it's actually in their interests what you're trying to do. I call it Gordon Ramsay. It's a bit Gordon Ramsay. You know, like when you're watching the telly, right? And Gordon Ramsay, right? He goes to America or Britain and he goes in and he gets a restaurant and it's like all falling apart. And everything's so bad. And then he goes in and every single episode they fight him. They fight him and fight him to the point where you can see the lines across his brow. Do you know what I mean? And he's like, expending all this unnecessary energy every single time. And then a light bulb goes off when they finally
Yeah.
see the results. They see the results.
Yeah.
It's not that necessarily, but until they see the results, they're fighting against you.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Well, you come across that quite a lot in life generally, but I suppose especially in sort of public office because, we're meant to be in the art of persuasion, aren't we? We're meant to be able to take part in good debates that's sort of evidence-led, and do that. Everyone thinks they're right. That's what I've sort of found.
Yes.
And I always sort of like, think in my head is sort of like, we're not always right, but we're not always wrong either.
True.
And I think having a bit more of an open mind about things and having discussions, and that's one of the great things about, I think, young people in particular, is that whilst they absolutely have their own identities, they're navigating such a complex world with sort of stimulus coming from every direction, whether it's the telly, whether it's devices, whether it's influences, whether it's music, art, whatever it is. And within that, they're trying to shape their own worldview and their thinking in that.
Yes.
So I always sort of say, engage in the debate.
Yes.
Listen, but actually use your voice and be curious and test your theory. Is sort of, and I'd like to think that I try and do that.
Yes.
Is that, you have your own view. I mean, I certainly, just like everybody else, my ethos and my way of doing things will be informed by my own life experiences, as it is for everybody. But when you're representing other people, you need to be able to represent, views that you don't necessarily align with. And I always try and look for contra evidence as well.
I love that.
Sort of say, right, okay, I think I'm right here. I've got all the evidence to back me up. All this is happening. But actually, what's the opposite? Seek that out. Seek that information out.
Yes.
Check it out. You're almost doing your own fact checking. And I think that is just so important, especially in this day and age when there's so much misinformation.
True.
And all the rest of it. So to
echo
do that
chambers.
It's sort of,
I think that's an issue now. Echo chambers.
I think we've lost the art of being able to disagree agreeably.
Yeah, I was gonna say that actually, like, cause like I do remember, like back in the day, like I don't know why I said it all dramatic, like. Dun, dun, dun.
It depends how long ago back in the day was.
That thing crazy for some reason, but I do remember like voting was like getting told I should vote at school or uni or something, and but it was cool. It was like this thing. You went in this room and there's loads of people and no one talked, and you went in and you did the wee X thing, you put it in the box, and that was it. No one talked about it. I didn't have to explain anything to anyone. I didn't tell anybody who I voted for particularly.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like now there's way too much. It's like something that should be like just a confidential thing.
Yeah.
Conclusion that you come to on your own.
Yeah.
Not influenced by family or friends or just your own thoughts on what you think would be good.
Yeah.
Is now like the center of public debate, and like people are being like trashed and like based on whatever their vote and is. And I think that's a shame because there's something that's remarkably protective about confidentiality. It means that you might have voted like this, but then you can still go and sit in a room and listen to what other people think. And then you can change because not everybody knows what your specific view is. And humans, we do change, right?
Yeah.
Like we might have a belief, but that belief can change significantly throughout our lives,
And
so
it should evolve. Again, the theme of education is that sort of, the more you learn, you would hope that it would influence your thinking and make you think differently.
You would think so, but I kind of feel like, and I love the fact that you're here because you're like one of the, I couldn't think of a better person that I could have this discussion with, but I kind of feel like when I look at like school and stuff and education and stuff, because I did this whole petition. I was trying to update the curriculum for excellence. And I did do quite a lot of things, and we did go into schools across the UK, so I can't say anything. But I kind of just had this feeling like, well, how come my computer like updates like all the time, but we're like not updating our kind of like education in the same way, or at least adding to it, right? Because what exists, and so it's about adding and building
Yeah.
additional information and adding that in. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, isn't it? That computers can update, but humans can't.
I feel like we can.
we
I
can't
just feel like the
update.
society doesn't want it to update because they like the system, right?
Well,
You
yes.
know what I mean? And I like, it's like, on the one hand, okay, technology's the thing. I'm being told that we're like this, really technological society, but it's just discombobulating my brain because I'm like, well, how can we be like so developed if we're still like people and blah, but like
Yeah.
people and stuff? I have to take that word out. But the point is that it's quite confusing. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like we're not using technology in the right way.
Yeah, well, I mean, sort of technology is a good thing. I do think that in principle it is a good thing. I think the flaw comes into it is when humans interact with it.
True.
It's sort of like, yeah,
True.
as soon as we enter
Can't
the
be
picture,
trusted. Get them out.
and actually, most human beings interact with things very, very constructively.
True.
But yeah, it's that bit about, but they are challenges, I suppose, as society evolves, is how do we manage that? And it leads to lots and lots of ethical questions as well, doesn't it?
Yes.
Even
Yes.
bits about, the person who invented the bomb, for instance. Now, it was the technology that was invented, which could be used for many good things, I would imagine.
True.
But
True.
actually, then it was sort of like put down to, well, how do we actually blow people up?
Right.
So I can, I can't think for one moment that anybody's trying to invent something to actually cause the destruction. But then you can't, once it's out there, you can't control
take it
how
back.
it's gonna. You can't take it back. And I
True.
think with the internet, I mean, it wasn't. I mean. When I started teaching, we learned computer programming on a BBC computer, and there was one, and it was literally finger, and I had to do a program that moved this virtual balloon across the screen. I suppose you'd call it coding now, right? I remember an in-service session where we learned how to send our first email, and now we can do it on phones. So, I come from a generation that's not always had that. So I've got a different perspective on it. But yeah, control it once the genie's out. But I think self-discipline, talking to people and maintaining a human connection. Let's not do everything virtually. Let's do it face to face.
Yes. Or incorporate the technology
Yes.
into the meeting as we're doing here today.
It's there to help us, not to define us.
I agree.
Yeah.
I actually decided that if I was in charge, like, of the world, that basically
I think that would be great.
Hey, you need no, I'm not doing it. You can do it. I'll help you out.
Well,
I feel you're more suited.
We could do a job share.
You never
Yeah.
know, especially nowadays, with all of those kinds of things going on. But going back to, it was something I really wanted to ask you, but you were saying so many amazing things. I got really into it. But you were talking about being a woman and the kind of additional sort of, I don't want to say trials and tribulations, but the additional, I feel like a lot of the messages I get, especially from young people, but just across the spectrum, particularly women, is can you talk more about how you were able to manage and balance, right? Because you were a mom, you're a politician, you're doing all of these things, you're battling for literally 20 years to get to where you are. And I think that's the part that's I think could really help people.
Yeah, it's sort of, I do get asked that a lot, is sort of what made me persevere through so many failures. And with the lack of privilege that, I had, what made me keep going. And I think the short answer is that it was, why was I doing it? I think that was the thing. And people say to me, "Oh, why did you want to be a politician?" And I says, "Well, I never thought that I would be a politician. I never would have thought that. It's the issues and the sense of injustice and the decision making. Those were the three things that drove me to it. And because I was sick and tired, actually, of always whatever table or panel or person, I was always asking someone else, have you considered, you talked about your campaigning for the Curriculum for Excellence and stuff. Well, it's an issue. And my issue would be whatever it was to try and change it, you would ask somebody, oh, it's not my responsibility, it's somebody else's. You would go to somebody else and they would say, yeah, it's not us, it's the council. Oh, right. You go, who in the council? So trying to find the right people. Oh, yeah, it's not us, it's the government, it's this. And at some point, there was a thing in my head that thought, right, I'm tired of asking other people who have got a seat at the table that make those decisions to make different decisions. Why
True.
can't I be sitting at the table that makes the decisions in the first place?
That's a good attitude.
So that's and it was like, well, what's the route to do that? And then the route to do that we have is through politics, because I'm naturally a teacher. Anyone who knows me would say I'm an educationalist, and I have to accept the fact that I'm a politician. But if somebody ever asks me randomly, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" I still think I'm a teacher in that, because you don't do something for nearly 30 years and leave it behind. It's in you.
Yes.
But that's what it was that drove me. So I suppose then in order to do that, it's like the biggest and the most complex job interview of your life.
Yes.
Because you have to put yourself in front of thousands of voters, most of whom you won't know that live in a constituency. Then you're standing on a party political platform, and trying to appeal to as many different people whilst you're holding on to your values and your policy areas that you want to pursue.
True.
And mine were always about equalities and about social justice and fairness. And I'm a member of the SNP, so independence is at the heart of that also. Putting yourself out there, and you don't always get the reception you want. Lots of people say nasty things about you. You raise your head above the parapet. You get chopped down.
True.
All of that happens. But getting the balance, I have to say, I don't know if I ever got the balance right. I always felt as though I sort of muddled my way through it in a way. Sometimes I look back and think, goodness, did I not spend as much time with my own children whilst I was out, educating, looking after other people's children, trying to change the world?
That's the battle, eh?
And
when
for everybody else, but what about my own kids, in that sense? Now, they have assured me and said that, they didn't feel that they were deprioritized in any way. But nevertheless, being a woman, and actually being a woman of colour in that space, was really, really tricky.
I can imagine.
Because, and coming from a modest background.
Oh, for sure. That in combination with the Scottish, British self-depreciation.
It sort of is, because I didn't have the extra money to pay anyone to look after my children. I used to get the train, get the bus, to get to wherever I needed to get to for campaigning. I had to work full time throughout all my campaigns because I couldn't afford not to. And paying for, campaigns and stuff, that was sort of like, thankfully it's members and party members that help you out with that through their donations, because I couldn't afford to pay anything towards it. And then sort of being a woman, I suppose people thought, oh, she'll have an advantage because we're trying to encourage more women to take part in politics. Well, the statistics will tell you that just doesn't happen.
Yes.
We're still only in the Scottish Parliament got 45% of women, so it's not equal.
It's better than down in the big smoke.
It is.
But it's not equal.
No, it's not
100%.
equal.
Aye.
It's absolutely not equal. And I suppose from that view, people thought, well, she comes from an ethnic minority, so she'll get the support of the ethnic minorities. But then the flip side happens as well, because the ethnic minorities, sometimes, traditionally over the years, it's changed for the better. But being a woman in that space,
Facts. That's what people didn't understand.
was less acceptable.
Absolutely, it's even
to be
worse
a woman in politics.
because or in anything where you're kind of seen like that. You know how they had that British thing where they were like seen and not heard or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a thing in like a lot of Asian and Caribbean communities. It's almost a little. It's like, I'm not saying it's like I'm not generalizing that, but I do feel like there is, when it comes to public life, probably even worse over this side in a way.
It
You
can
know,
be,
for
yeah. I
me
think it
coming
is
from West
changes, yeah.
Africa. But yeah, no, I totally get that.
Yeah, so I think I do think that, had I been a man, I think I would have probably broken through a little bit
100%. I
earlier.
can agree with that. I think
Um,
so.
so the reality is that everyone expects somebody else to support you because
Mhm.
you sort of
Mhm.
like, I cover so many different areas in my own intersectionality
Yes.
because we're not, I'm not one dimensional.
Yeah.
People are not. Nobody's one dimensional.
True. Well, there's a long
And
left met a
well,
few.
you can say that. I wouldn't. But yeah, so you end up slipping through the cracks a little bit.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and you're also seen as sort of like you're fine in what you said. It's almost like staying in your lane
Yes.
and a good campaigner, a good activist or whatever, or a good worker. But actually, if you want more of a platform, then no.
Yeah.
The biases and everything starts coming in, the barriers start coming in. So we know that they're there.
Yes.
And I did think I didn't think I would stand again because you do get physically tired as well as
For sure.
everything else.
For sure. I can imagine.
And I did think, I mean, 2021, I decided, I think at that point that if I didn't win that time, that would be my last, because I couldn't keep putting my family through it. I couldn't keep putting myself through it.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work to do that. And then I did get elected, but prior to that, I didn't think that it would be me that would be the first woman of color after all those years. I genuinely thought it would be somebody else. So I do make sure that I try and mentor and coach as many young people coming through because I think that's the thing and I still miss it, I have to say. In Scotland, there's better representation of women in colour in politics down south than there is up here. Well, I'm the only one. Well, I'm not. There's another sort of member there as well. So there's only the two of us
I don't
as
think
women.
it's that much
But
better.
that's not much better.
Yeah.
It's
I reckon if you were looking at it as a ratio.
yeah. Statistics, I know, absolutely.
I think we're actually still doing better somehow.
Yeah.
Which is really bad because it's way like the population of England in comparison to the population of Scotland is incomparable.
Yeah.
Like 60 odd million to like if you're lucky 5 odd million.
Yeah. I think that, so it's that kind of you can't be what you can't see.
Yeah.
And
that's why I was asking you about,
I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And I thought, why would it be me? Why would it be me? But then I thought, well, why shouldn't it be me? And that's what brings me back to what I started with, was it was about the issues.
Yeah.
That I could not give. So whereas I was ready to maybe give up on myself sometimes because I thought, oh, this is just too hard, it's too much of a struggle.
Yes.
That actually the issues were just so important to me. And I had to keep fighting for that justice, for that fairness, to make sure people have dignity. And actually, it's not rocket science. And equalities, can sometimes be seen as a warm and fuzzy thing. Far from it. It's actually
it's absolutely not warm and fuzzy.
it is not warm
painful.
and fuzzy. And we've seen so many sort of like threats towards what we thought had been hard-won rights, inequalities in the first place, and we've realized that actually it's quite fragile. So it's more important than ever to pursue that. So so whenever I'm feeling a wee bit tired and a wee bit weary, it's like, remember why you're doing this.
Yes.
It's the why, in that sense. So yeah, why not me?
Well, I'm really glad that you've come on the podcast because I one of the things that really disappoints me, I think, with mainstream media is like when it comes to women and I feel like in the UK there's like such a dearth of like there's so many amazing, beautiful, intelligent women who are just changing the world. And there's this massive skew towards, like, I believe in everything. I don't believe that everyone has to have a social conscience and do everything to change the world. I mean, I kind of do, but I also believe in free will.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
therefore, if you
Yeah,
believe in
yeah.
free will, that means that not everyone needs to take on like the saving the world
Yeah,
type situation that I might be in, you
yeah.
know? But I just kind of feel like there's so much emphasis on kind of, and you tend to see more female public figures that are not really necessarily always engaged in things, which, and I'm not trying to like take anything away from the arts, or certainly not the arts, but I
Mm,
just feel like there's an
mhm.
overemphasis when you think of like the world. A lot of the most well-known women, it's not necessarily for anything that's of, and I'm even careful to define things of substance and not substance, because I
Mm,
don't want to
mhm.
be, just because I don't like something doesn't mean it's not important. But
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
issue I kind of find is like there's no diversity, and it's like, as a young lady when you grow up, I it was two things I wanted to say actually.
Mm,
And I can probably bundle them into one, right? So I got asked, I think this is the perfect example. I got asked to do a talk at school.
mm.
It was a fancy school in a fancy area, and it was that fancy. They had beekeeping. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
That's like,
wow.
oh my God, they got bees, man. I want bees. Do you know what I
Bees
mean?
are good.
So they had archery, beekeeping,
Yeah.
and they came to get me. They were so cute, and their little outfits and stuff. And anyway, cut long story short. So I did,
Uniforms.
yeah. That's what I meant, yeah. They were so cute, right? And they were taller. I was like, why are you taller than me? You're children. Anyway, so I do the talk, and it was like the headmaster approached me afterwards. He's like, wow, we've never had a response like that. He named
Yeah.
these other kind of like, gold medalists and public figures that had come to speak. And he was like, well, particularly, we've never had such a response from the young ladies. And I was like, well, I'm not
Mm,
surprised, because like all of these people you've mentioned, I'm sure have significant expertise and valuable
mm.
direction. They are certainly public figures, they're certainly successful, but there is a huge amount of male public figures that are like quite grounded in consciousness and seriousness and talk about
Yeah.
this, that, and the third. Whereas it does appear and feel like that is less promoted for women to do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it isn't, but
Yeah.
I certainly feel when I go into schools, when I'm talking to young people, particularly young women, that a lot of a sense of disillusionment,
Mm,
a lot of a
mhm.
sense of like too much emphasis being placed on, obviously, time immemorial aesthetics and
Yeah.
all of those kind of things. So I think one of the best things about Level Up in this platform is ensuring that we give opportunity and voices to women like you and people
Yeah.
like you
Thank you.
who've
Yeah.
really like literally changed the course of history, whether you accept it or not.
Yeah.
I will be giving flowers today. Okay. Flowers will be given. Flowers, flowers.
It,
Um,
it's funny. I mean, as you're talking, I don't see myself as that. I mean, I know the facts. I can see it. And, when I attend events and they give a wee introduction and they outline your biography and it gives you a chance to reflect, I still find it surprising. I still think that's actually somebody else because I think most of us are, and you'll be the same, is that we're just getting on with our lives.
yeah,
And
yeah.
actually, we've
Reading
always
it
had
back
to,
is
yeah,
wild.
we've always had to work hard.
Yeah.
So it's no great shakes in that sense, because you can't sit and, I can't afford to sit and indulge and wallow for too long. Usually 10 minutes, grab a cup of tea, get yourself together and crack on with it, in that sense. And I think that for young women in particular these days, again, there is so many expectations and so many of them are so contradictory
Yes.
as well.
Very true. Very true.
And it's sort of navigating those contradictions, where, how do you decide? And I always say, actually, actually, you don't need to decide. Don't feel that pressure. Just take your time.
Yes.
And do you know what? Expose yourself to as many different types of information, as many different types of cultures, as many different types of media, whatever you want to, never been to the ballet. Well, go have a look at it. Even if you don't like it, at least you know that isn't for you.
Yes.
Try something new, even just to eliminate it. And you never know, it might sort of spark something in you. But if it doesn't, it's okay.
That's true. That's very true.
It's okay.
I agree. I think that's actually a brilliant note to end today on. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's gone so quickly.
I know. Can you imagine? Like, it's wild. But wait. I still have more.
Oh,
before
right.
you go,
Okay.
like, I've got to do. Are you up for doing some quick fire questions?
Oh no, I hate things like this. I've got to be up for it. Yeah,
No,
I can't say no, but I'm not going to do well.
Very easy questions.
Okay.
So we didn't stick to the script at all today.
No,
we
we
totally
didn't.
off the script, totally, and I think it's fan-dabby-dozy. So these are the quick fire questions. If I can read them without my spectaculars, it could be quite good. Okay, I'll start you off really, really easy. Okay.
Okay.
Should I do my countdown or not? A count? Do you want the countdown? You want?
Okay.
You want the countdown? You want the
Do a
countdown?
countdown. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go! Iron brew or champagne?
Iron brew.
I like that. I do. Okay, this one is very easy.
Okay.
Ramsay Nesbitt for a date or James Bond?
Oh, I'm sorry, James Bond. Ramsay Nesbitt might just
I'll
be
take it because the thing is, right?
not for a
There's
date.
been multiple or at least one Scottish James Bond,
There
right?
has.
So you're still on form. That's fantastic. This is more of a question. Buckfast, is it culturally iconic or a national emergency?
Can it be both?
That is the excellent, perfect answer.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Now, would you survive a night out on the town with your own constituents?
Say again?
Would you survive a night out? Now, that means all night. That
Yes.
doesn't mean
Yes.
from 9 till 12. That
Yeah.
means from 9 till 3 or 4 or
Yes.
5, possibly 7 a.m. You may wake up on a beach in Peebles. You may wake up in Ben Nevis. I don't know.
Right.
So the question is, do you think you'll be able to survive it?
Absolutely.
Yes,
No doubt at
I
all.
love it. Go.
No doubt.
Go. Right. Have you ever?
This will be a good one then.
No. I just want to know: have you ever been walking down the street in Sauchiehall Street and saw someone you know and pretended that you didn't see them?
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, I do it.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. I'll let you off. Okay, Greg's sausage roll or Pret sandwich?
A Greg's vegan sausage roll.
That's a very good choice. That light and fluffy and
Yes.
quite delicious. Haggis, delicacy or dare?
Well, I've never had it. I've only ever had vegetarian haggis.
So
So
might be a dare then.
it would be a
It
dare.
might be a dare.
It would have to
Truth or
be a dare.
All right, I like it. Okay, the final and penultimate. No, actually, it's not. We got 2 more questions next. Deep fried Mars bar, yes, no, or only during elections?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
I like it. You work in education, so you got to be sensible. I'll let you off, okay? Right. Who would play you in a Netflix drama? You have extra time on this.
Well, do you know what? I think it would have to be you.
Hey! My sister! I'm meant to play you! Hey! I like it! Thank you very much! Hey! The only thing that I was going to ask you about is, I was going to talk about how we met.
Oh my goodness. Now, was that at the GFT?
Yeah,
Or-
we met at the
yeah.
Glasgow Film Theatre,
Yeah.
and you we're giving an opening speech
That's
about my
right.
film. Like, that's
That's
amazing.
right. Yeah.
So
Do you know, honestly, I was, can I say that I was sort of like slightly intimidated and a bit awestruck?
Oh, really?
I was. And I mean, I was sort of giving the opening speech and I thought, I don't think I'm worthy of doing this.
Oh,
Who am
shut
I? Because this is just amazing. She's just incredible. And I didn't know anything about you. I mean, well, I knew about you, but we
Yeah.
never met.
Yes, yes.
And I didn't think that I would actually get to meet somebody like yourself because I've admired your work, your tenacity, and you know, just that getting on with it mentality, which you know I appreciate that. So I think that was one of my first sort of like official sort of engagements as well in the culture space when I was culture minister. So to be in that, I was slightly intimidated, and then we got chatting because I was nervous to speak to you, and then we just talked and talked, and we talked about sort of like families, and I think your mum was there.
And I think I met you again.
Yes.
Was I hosting the show Racism Red Card?
Yes,
I
so
think
we
it
were at
was.
Tory Glen. I think was it Hampden. It was
Oh
at
yeah, Hampden Park. That was cool with the
Yes,
Scotland football team.
And I
Brilliant.
remember that you'd
Brilliant.
made, I think you made it yourself, the
Oh, my
Scotland
outfit. Yes,
yes.
I did.
So
I
you
did.
refashioned a Scotland top into
A dress.
a dress.
Yeah, I need to actually hit them up because we
Yeah.
need to do a wee collabo.
Yeah, because they'd be really, really popular. And that room was amazing because there was so many kids and they were getting their awards and everything. And I was part of that as well. And then I think we met also in Parliament when it was Show Racism, the red card.
Yeah,
And
yes,
we had
that's
that
true.
iconic picture on the stairs. We must
yeah.
find it somewhere.
Yeah,
We must have one
get
somewhere.
it. Put it up.
Yeah, but no, it's just no. As I said, I admire. I think that there should be more of people like us, women like us, that are getting on with it, but hopefully engaging and inspiring enough to get more people involved and to be interested.
Yes.
That actually, what we do is also for them. Because
Yes.
let's face it, Eunice, we won't be around forever.
No.
And we need that new generation.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
We do. Thank you. Thank you so much again. You're amazing. I hope you'll come back again.
Oh, I'd love to.
And I will probably let you know if we get any questions from the audience. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in today to this episode of Level Up. It has been my absolute pleasure. I love you guys so much, and I shall see you doing live and direct on Level Up.
Yay.